Hi and welcome to Inside Web Series. I'm David M. Green. In this episode, we're looking at web series production. Production usually involves long days of shooting video. By the end, everyone wants to shoot each other with bullets. Let's hear from some of our producers.
What is shooting a web series like? Shooting a web series is the most horrific experience in the world. No, it's not. It's fun.
Production was really crazy because, again, it started as an experiment. We really just pushed ourselves stupidly, to be honest.
Wow, yeah, that was intense.
Each episode took around 2 days to film. What we did have was a lot of locations, which we tried to source in one area.
We're actually done 2 seasons. The first season and second season were both done over maybe about 7 shoot days.
Why is your computer off?
Oh, I turned it off to save power.
Why is your computer off?
Oh, I turned it off to save power.
Well, let me turn it back on.
No, that's not necessary.
What it's like to shoot, I mean, I think, your average big production, Hollywood production, might shoot 6-8 pages a day. My show All's Fair, we shot 60 pages in 3 days. Many would say, and it looks like it. And it's true, it does look like it. It's not a multi-million-dollar production. We got what we could get out of what we had.
We put the first episode out, people really responded to it and liked it, and then we said, well, let's do 16 of them, starting from the episode we released once a week. And so our schedule was always like 1 or 2 episodes behind.
A lot of network shows are still shooting the second half of a season while the first half begins to air. So they're able to kind of, react to audience reaction and, build up a character who's proven popular or maybe change a storyline that isn't really working the way they thought. We don't have that luxury. We kind of shoot our show like a bunch of short films. We finish shooting a season before the first episode ever is even edited, much less airs.
The shooting period for Divinity typically takes place over a 3-month period of time. We only shoot on weekends. We all have day jobs. We all have, we don't get paid for this, so we have to kind of work around our real jobs, you could say. So we shoot Saturdays and Sundays. Occasionally we will shoot on Mondays, but typically it's Saturdays and Sundays spread out over a 3-month period. Whenever we shoot with our guest stars, that guest star is the only thing that we film that day.
Yes, that's really quite good. But double check the facets on this emerald design to ensure they remain hidden.
The slats are all in wrong.
Yeah, we sort of do it in bits and pieces. It wasn't like we had, this week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. we're going to shoot the whole season. It's just not practical because we all have jobs and stuff.
What's pace bike doing?
It took us maybe 3 or 4 sort of days, not all back to back, but over the course of maybe 6 weeks to shoot the first 6 episodes.
When we set out to make Clutch, we shot it like an episodic. We shot 8 episodes over the course of about a year. We kept shooting as we got more money. The first 4 episodes were written when we began, but the remaining 4 episodes, we had no idea what was going to happen. So it really was like television. When we went into season 2, we had 11 episodes, which were completely pre-written, and we shot it like a feature film. We had 1 3-week shooting block, and we got it all in the can, and then spent a year editing and releasing bit by bit.
We shot the entire series, which is 10 episodes, over the course of 2 weekends. So we did 10 episodes in 6 days, which was ridiculous, and I don't recommend anyone ever doing that. I'm definitely not going to do that again. But it was a lot of fun, and somehow we were able to pull it off. We didn't get much sleep, but we did it.
For animated stuff, you only need 1 actor at a time to come in and do their voiceovers, and they don't even need that much time. They don't need a whole day. Frequently you can get the whole thing done in a couple hours.
So we decided to record Wild Geek in a studio. In fact, this is the studio. We can set up a couple different offices, hallways, and so forth in this one studio.
Another good part of doing an animated web series is that the cast doesn't need to be there all at once. when you're doing a live-action web series, one of the most difficult things to do is get your cast together because they're all doing different jobs, and it's hard to pick a day when everyone's available.
Season 1, it was very hectic. The whole season was shot in 12 days. It moved really frantically, very fast. There were a lot of days that were like 16-hour days, one 18-hour day. Season 2 was better. It was a lot more planned ahead of time. There was a month of pre-production. We had a month of shooting. Shooting was crazy. It was more relaxed, but it was crazy because we got interrupted by Hurricane Sandy, which was a huge hurricane that happened that destroyed a lot of the productions that were going on in New York City at the time. And we had to regroup and then come back together a month later once filming was allowed to happen in the city again. But it was actually a lot more controlled, a lot more organized, a lot more relaxed.
There's a lot of people here. We gotta toast our boy out.
Our set is pretty big. We average about 50 people a day on set between cast and crew, so we're pretty large for an independent web series.
A good team of interns, volunteers helping out as well. It always makes life a lot easier, I think, to have a lot of people helping you out, especially when you're making a web series for such a little amount of money. You need to call in all your favours. What we did as well during filming, took a lot of behind-the-scenes footage, which really helped me afterwards in the promotion of the web series.
We did the shooting over 3 days, so it was kind of intense, very indeed the only way you can do it, where you have to kind of go from sun up to sundown, because a lot of the scenes were also early morning, so we needed the right light, and they were at night as well, so it allowed us to continue throughout the day. We pretty much would wake up in the morning, start shooting, keep going, and then go till like 3 a.m. because we needed the 3 a.m. scene, so it kind of worked out perfectly as far as scheduling. People were very tired though.
I guess you could say they had all learned a valuable lesson that day.
We shot every 3 or 4 weeks and shot 4 episodes a day. We'd kind of average about 2 hours, 2.5 hours per episode. If you see the show, it's really simple. It's usually one location. It was always sort of covered pretty simply in a 2-shot and then mid-shots and close-ups of the 2 guys. And we'd shoot at 2 cameras as well. So because there was improv, we always wanted a reaction from the other person in the scene. So we just shot ridiculously quickly, but also, I think, ridiculously efficiently.
We usually take a day to shoot 1 episode. It's 2 episodes. We shot all this in 1 day, though. 1 very long day. Because when you're doing a scene with all 4 of us, the first shot is usually a shot of all 4 of us, and you do that several times, and then you do a shot of those 2, for example, on one end. Then you do a shot of, 3 of the others, and then you might move into a close-up of those 2. So you're shooting the scene like 9, 10 times, well, more than that, probably 20 times, bits and pieces sometimes, but often the whole scene, just, from different angles.
The shooting process was extremely hectic. We arrived in one place, often without an interview lined up, and then we tried to find a subject for an interview. And then we, within the space of a day, we have to shoot all the location footage, cutaways, and all of this. So at the end of it, I realised that it was less than ideal, and I don't think I'd ever go about it in that way ever again.
I think an advantage to doing a TV series or a web series or any kind of ongoing story with characters is that you get to see them develop, and you get to see their arcs, and you really get to know them in the writing. And that's kind of something that we didn't have when I was doing my web series, since we shot everything at once.
All of the normal production jobs that you would see on a network show or on a feature film are all collapsed down into several people who handle easily 10 departments worth of work individually.
So we really try to spread out as much as possible so that we don't have to rush through the scenes. We'll only shoot 1 or 2 scenes on any given day. The hours are still insanely long as a result of that, but we really we take a lot of pride in our attention to detail and not slamming out a product. A lot of people are in such a rush to get out content. We're effective and we're timely, but really at the end of the day, it's about taking the time to tell the best story we can possibly tell.
I mean, it was all done guerrilla style. It was very low budget. So we kind of just ran and shot and filmed where we could. And New York City has a plethora of just wonderful, beautiful locations, especially for something like this.
God, get me close.
Yeah.
Until you're there on set shooting, like, the world is your oyster, you can shoot anywhere. It's kind of the mentality I had. Like, we could shoot at the White House and no one will give us any problems. And then you get there and you're like, oh, permits, fees, insurance, crap.
Need an instruction manual?
But the fun thing about web series is you can kind of go guerrilla style if needs be, and we certainly did a lot of that on Dead Grandma. We also approached several different restaurants and shops and got their permission to shoot there. You know, we offered them whatever little money we had in the budget.
Hey, Andy, want some fries with that wambulance?
We also shot at my school, Art Center College of Design, and a local community college here in Pasadena in LA that I thought had just the perfect look for a all-American high school.
Both of the series that I produce, Breakups and Shrink, were both completely improvised. And so the process of production was essentially creating a situation where I could allow the improvisers I knew in Chicago to be as free as possible. So my goal as a producer was always to be able to have my actors walk on set, give them whatever the scenario was that they were acting in, and have them immediately be able to jump in.
I thought you were going to propose to me.
Who fucking does that? Who goes to the John Hancock building, has brunch, and goes to the beach and proposes? That is stupid and boring and retarded.
We shot with 3 cameras most of the time, DSLRs mostly. We had a Red Scarlet in on occasion to get those special shots where we needed to see extra detail and slow motion. The 3 cameras helped. We couldn't have done a production schedule like we did if we were doing the traditional single camera shoot. We were able to have authentic performances and something that would happen in one take, and instead of having to then go and recreate that, we already had it covered from multiple angles and we were good to move on.
The visual style in Too Easy, it's a handheld camera.
Yo, Times!
Adrian! Single camera, sort of slightly shaky. It was kind of in 2009, so we thought, well, we can do that. You know, if you choose to use tripods and to use smooth dollies and stuff like that, as soon as you shake the camera a little bit, you've lost it.
You know, we're living in the modern era now where rape's hilarious. You know, pedophile jokes are hilarious.
Whereas I think in the very first episode, there's a moment where Nick holding the camera starts laughing, and the camera literally goes like that, and you don't even notice it because the whole thing's shaky camera.
Not that I've raped or into pedophile ranks or anything.
We didn't have lighting, we didn't even have microphones or anything like that. We just had it on board.
Don't forget about audio, because if you have a really high quality video and your audio is inaudible, then no one's going to watch the video. If you have something that kind of looks grainy, a bit lower resolution, but the audio is spot on, then people are going to appreciate it.
For many...
When am I going to get to do some acting?
Yep, there's some acting for you right over there. For many people, the production stage is the highlight of the overall filmmaking process. These people are generally called actors. Don't be in the same room alone for too long with one of them. Let's talk to some of them now.
Maybe 2 years ago, I would probably never have watched anything either on a computer or on YouTube or on a phone or anything, but now it's something I am, so I guess I'm kind of being drawn towards it. I'm liking it, I'm enjoying it. I have a lot of friends who do web series and, mainstream stuff, and I was happy to do this.
It's all the same process, it's just maybe done a little quicker, a little faster.
Just more compact. A lot of care is taken to craft a great show, and it's actually shot on pace with the lower budget movies that I've been involved with over the years, in terms of a page count per day or per half day or what have you.
It's very, very similar. The only thing that's different is that this is more intimate. This is a little blend sort of theater and TV and the circus, because everybody pitches in and does what they what they can to help. And our director currently is holding the boom. I just thought that you should all know that, because this is the nature of everybody pulling together to do something new and different, which is what certainly Divanity's been like. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy it so much, is because it's very different in its feeling than most network television shows.
Now get out of my house, you transparent little opportunist. Give my regards to your brother. Oh, and pray. Pray he never wakes up to see his world crash around him.
Go fuck yourself.
There are plots, and there is use of words and language with it nobody would accept on a network show. So that's one huge thing. And I'm very glad to say that we are using words I wouldn't say to my mother. And it's, if she were alive today. That's one big difference. But the similarity really is the stories we tell, outre though these are compared to Dynasty.
For me, acting in this web series was no different than any other format. You apply your same method and techniques to developing a character and bringing that character to camera. It's the same collaborative process that I was engaged in with Will and Courtney on set.
Sheesh, I mean, would you also sell your grandmother for a drink? Huh? I mean, am I right or am I right?
You're a recovering alcoholic.
There's definitely the same kind of professionalism that didn't change, which surprised me. I again, going into it, didn't know what to expect, didn't know how different it was going to be, and it was all daunting. And then to be on set with people that were as passionate and professional as I'd met on the film, TV sets. It's a much more intimate group, which is something that I really loved.
Sorry. Okay, from the start. Okay.
That scene where I basically come in and see Matt with these two guys and, get a chance to fight back, it was beyond exciting to me. The only thing that I really worried about is getting naked, of course, showing my tits to the world, but who gives a shit, really? I mean, everyone has them, and I thought, this is it. I'm not gonna think about that. Just do what you gotta do.
So, it's a pretty good bluff, huh? Hey, where are you going? I'm bleeding. I'm dying. Help me.
Matt, shut the fuck up. Once I hear action, I do not know who I am in that moment. I am the character. I'm not Elitsa.
A lot of times, and especially in independent filmmaking, especially with the advent of digital, there's the opportunity to do many takes because you're not shooting film.
Sometimes complicated because most of the time when you shoot when the DSLR camera, you do all the time of one shot you do 100 times.
You can go as many as 40 takes for one setup, one lighting setup, and that's really frustrating for the professionals. On this show, that's not the case. Everybody comes prepared. Everybody has his or her personality.
Well, some would say that it's less demanding, that the expectations on the actor aren't so high, but that's certainly not the case at all, because for an actor, the expectations don't change.
Ever since Will Ferrell founded Funny or Die, celebrities have been leaping into web series. Let's get a glimpse of some celebrities diving into web series, starting with the greatest diver of all time, Greg Louganis.
I love Greg in this moment. He's not a professional actor. He's done some acting and is, I think, competent. And I love that he got this character when he said love at the end of this, right before Brad's puke. I said, you have to redeem us. We poke a lot of fun at gay marriage in these episodes. And with that one word, you have to redeem the whole notion that, a person can be redeemed just by love. And he got it. And I think he does a perfect line reading on that one word.
Or to the happy homemaker, huh? Love.
I think this will, in Asia, this will probably be the next step once celebrities adopt that format. we will have a huge push.
If your favorite celebrity or your favorite YouTube star, favorite star of any show says, hey, go to this channel, go see this movie, go see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, odds are they're going to.
And here we are back with Mr. Ian Buchanan. I was so nervous. I rarely get intimidated by celebrities anymore, and but I was a bit intimidated.
I mean, it's nice to be on something like this that is fun and kind of light, and because usually I'm doing things which are a little sort of more serious, and certainly with a lot more pressure. Although for myself, it's like just to do what I do properly. It's it's the same pressure, but this is a lot of fun.
Green screen can be used terribly. On the other hand, it can also be used by Robert Rodriguez. He's very good. Let's find out about how our web series used green screen for their projects.
Tell me, Nathan, I'm just a giant fucking dildo with a pulse, aren't I? It's all guys want me for.
And action.
I can't wait to leave you.
During production, things can go wrong. Here are some bloopers from some web series productions.
Scenes 2 and 4. Take 1, cameras A, B, and C, common mark. Cut!
Oh, heck. I have great news for the viewers at home. Did you know you can get your GED in just 3 simple clicks on your computer? You'll need a Visa or a credit card.
Yeah, it's been a busy year. Oh.
This is a silly shoot.
Rolling.
Yes. Wait, front hand though.
Alright, ready?
Production often involves intense hours and stress. And if there's one thing you need, it's caffeine. And a crew, I suppose.
To have all of these people there working to make my ideas come to life. And I mean, yes, it was a collaboration of ideas. We had so many people that became involved as writers, and it was their story, but it was my world. And to see so many people come and work for free and work long hours and put their blood and sweat, sometimes quite literally their blood and sweat, into it. It was such a gift.
It's the crew sometimes I think that has the toughest job. There's so much work involved. They're always on, the actors get little breaks here and there. The crew pretty much doesn't get a break. So one rule I've learned in filmmaking and independent productions is just in general, be nice to the crew. Be nice to them.
My cinematographer and my director, Rod and Kelly Portier, are 2 of my closest friends, and I wouldn't be able to do Divinity without them. Their work and dedication has been invaluable. My wife, who is my co-executive producer, she runs sound on Divinity. I absolutely couldn't do it without her. You will rely on so many people to help take your vision from the page to the screen, and that requires, I think, a trade-off that you as the creator and as the executive producer have got to be the most committed to your project and the most passionate, because you're really going to have to drive your team through some good times and some bad times, and really fight for what you believe in to get the job done.
Keep watching. Keep watching. I can't wait myself to see what happens on this show.
Thank you so much for watching this, my reincarnation, and this wonderful debut of what is going to be the next generation of electronic media. What do you want?
Everything. I'm Michael Caruso, and you're watching Inside Web Series.
Thanks for watching Inside Web Series. On our next episode, post-production. Hopefully it'll be edited in time. I'm David M. Green. You can be too.